I think my message to the players before the game was, all these things that we do matter. You're being judged to a standard as an individual player. We're being judged to a standard as a team. And everybody's got to make a choice and decision about, are you going to play to that standard on a consistent basis, not every now and then. And there's a lot that goes into that. It's preparation. It's how you practice. It's, focusing on the things you need to do when you play against good competition so that you have a chance to be successful. So, and then, the message after the game was, well, did you do that or not? And how would you be judged based on how you played, what you did? Obviously, a lot of good things out there today. Scored on defense, scored a couple times on special teams, had 262 yards in punt returns. We made plays on offense, not started a little slow, but, got better as it went. And, defensively, I think we did a pretty good job. Went for it on fourth down, gave them good field position. That's how they scored a touchdown. It's probably on me. But anyway, so all in all, I think we made some progress. There's some evidence out there that this is the standard that we want to play to. But I think everybody's got to, judge what do we need to do to continue to improve. SEC play starting next week. It's going to take a little better effort on everybody's part to play with consistency.
Given the variety of ways that Jahmyr Gibbs can affect the game, do you have a minimum targets, touches you'd like to see him get a week?
Well, he's definitely a guy that's a really good playmaker, and especially when he gets the ball in space, although he's a very good runner as well. I think Bryce has a lot of confidence in him. I think that, we were running some vertical patterns today down the field. Some of those things were check downs that he got, and they were so far back trying to take away the vertical plays. He had space, made some really good runs, made people miss. I think on a couple of those, there were some really good blocks, down the field as well. But, he is an explosive guy, and, we need as many weapons as possible on offense. And he's certainly been one of the most consistent weapons we've had to this point.
You mentioned special teams. Just what do you think of the progress Kool-Aid's made as a returner? And what did you think of that whole group today?
Well, obviously, if you get 262 yards, you block a punt, score a touchdown, that's pretty good stuff. But, to this point in the season, and I challenged the players this week on that, we had not made one explosive play or significant play in the game on special teams. We didn't do anything that really hurt us, but we weren't making special teams an advantage to us. So, I try to challenge the players that, we need to do a better job of executing, because it really comes down to that. Because every time you don't have a play or you get a punt block, somebody didn't block the right guy, or somebody didn't do the right thing on the punt return, didn't clamp the right guy, didn't double the right guy, didn't. So, today the execution was a lot better, and, we were able to take advantage of it.
Overall in the passing game, how would you evaluate the downfield passing game with Bryce in the first team?
Well, I don't think you can really say how did you evaluate if the team plays split safeties, all right, which they did a lot of. They're going to be able to take the downfield passing game away. So, but then when you throw to the guys and take what the defense gives, somebody else runs the ball for 25 or 30 yards. So it's not really fair to say, what was the downfield passing game today? I think we missed one shot where Burton was open, and, Bryce overthrew him a little bit. But I think he made a good decisions about not trying to force the ball down the field, when they're playing really soft and trying to take those things away. And you take what the defense gives, which he did, and we made some explosive plays because of it.
The receiver had a block for Gibbs on his long touchdown run, and last week Burton, I think, had a block for Chase McClellan on his touchdown run. What kind of things do you guys emphasize to receivers to make sure that they contribute in the blocking game?
Well, it's important because, those were sort of loose plays that you're talking about, but, a lot of these smokes and bubbles that we throw, which I refer to as advantage throws, receivers have to block. If they can't block the guys on the perimeter, because it's usually a one-on-one situation, you got to block a guy, there's another guy to tackle, you got to make somebody miss. Well, if you don't make a good block on the first guy, you never get to the second guy. So we really have to emphasize that. And we do a lot of what we call force drills, which are perimeter plays where perimeter players have to block so that we develop that. And I think it's really important. But, 19 made a heck of a block on the one, today.
You got an awful lot of athletes. When it comes to returning punts specifically, what do you and your staff look for? Obviously, Kool-Aid's done a good job this year, but outside of just the dynamic playmaking, what goes into selecting a guy to play that position?
Well, JoJo is our punt returner, and he hadn't been out there yet. He was the punt returner going into the season. So did it some last year. So I think, first of all, the most important thing about punt return is possession of the ball. So if you can make a first down and affect field position by having an average of at least 10 yards of return, I think that's kind of our goal. Now, we'd like to break them and make big plays, and you can do that. So, but the most important thing is we stop the other team. We have the ball back. All right, so the most important thing is having a guy back there that's going to field the ball and not how many muff punts did you see in the first 2 weeks of the season, all right, that impacted and affected the outcome of games. So, that's the most important thing is possession of the ball. Then if the guy's got the feel and the instinct to know when to fair catch and when he has a chance to return the ball, that's even better. All right, but the key to that is how do the people up front, not the returner, how do they clamp people? How do they stab and lag people? And how do they sit and fit them down the field? And there were a lot of good blocks on a lot of these returns today.
Sticking with special teams, did you see anything on film or in practice this week that led you to believe you guys could put up the date you had today in that part of the game, let alone set a program record?
We're trying to practice in perfection all the time. When a team kicks the way they kick and you have three shields, three big guys in the shield, you have less cover guys. So if you do a good job on their gunners, because they only really have the center and two guys on both sides that can cover, that lends itself to having an opportunity to return. So, look, I always have an expectation that what we do in practice is we can take it to the game and execute it. It's going to work. I never have a feeling that, hey, this is going to work and that isn't just because of what happened in practice. But I do feel like when you play 3-man shield teams, if you can get good clamps on people, you got a chance to return the ball. That's the most important thing. When the returner catches the ball, how far are them people from them, and do you have somebody stabbing them?
Hey, right here. I know you can't really evaluate offensive line right after until you see the game film, but what led to the decision to play Tyler Booker at left guard, give him those early reps? What have you seen from him throughout the week that gave you the confidence to do that?
Well, I've got lots of confidence in him. He's a young player who has played extremely well. Started out at tackle. We moved him to guard. And I view him as a guy that's competing for a starting position with the other two guys. So he's physical. We need to be more physical on the offensive line. So we're going to play him.
Just having Cam Lonzu back, the development for the guys like Amari and Black, what's the challenge of having those tight ends be more involved?
It's not really a challenge. I think that, you've heard me talk before that tight ends and running backs are great mismatch players. And when you got guys that can make plays at those positions, and we have a lot of confidence in Cam. We've got a lot of confidence in 3 or 4 or 5 of the running backs that we have, that they can all make plays in the passing game as well as running it. We just got to do a better job of being consistent in how we do things so that we do things the right way. When you play smart, you do things the right way. If the route's 6 yards, you run it at 6. You don't run it at 4. Quarterback's not ready to throw you the ball. If you're supposed to run it at 12, you got to run it at 12. We had some opportunities today. We didn't always take advantage of it. We weren't as good on third down as we usually are, and that's something that we got to work on. All right, thank you.